This is Tom Noonan. You're listening to Without Your Head.
Welcome to the station of decapitation without your head. I am Nasty Neal, and I'm joined by Francisco Orvananos, the writer, the director, the producer of Backgammon, which is available March 11th. And for people not familiar yet, can you give them an idea of what the movie's about?
Yeah, it's a mystery thriller. It starts with five characters, and we finish up with two characters. And of this, uh, the process of these last two characters and how they discover themselves through them, kind of being witness of their own transformation and discovery on this newfound relationship and unexpected relationship.
hmm Now, I've read that this is based on a book, a novella.
Yes, it's a novella by R.B. Russell, Bloody Bottler, and Todd Niemi adapted it to a script.
What was it about the book that that interested you and wanted you to see this become a film?
I love the intimacy of it, and and also as a reader, the first time that I read it, like it kept me guessing all the time where Ray was going with a novel. So that's what like draw me the most to it, like this of guessing what's going to happen next, and
hmm
and really try to get the characters and where they were going, also where their relationship was going. So that was kind of the main things that I liked.
hmm Now, I was not familiar with the novella before I saw the movie, and so how closely does it stick to the novel, or is it just kind of inspired by, or is it pretty much a film version of the book?
So like first half, even the three-fourths
hmm
are very similar to to the novella, and then in the three-fourths, we added the backgammon game, um, and then the rest it's pretty similar also to the novella.
hmm
So I there's a so I guess like the three-fourths are different, and the rest it's kind of the same.
hmm Now, do you know if R.B. Russell has seen the movie?
Yes, yes. We worked closely during rewriting the script, and then even when the film was ready and edited, he saw it a couple of times, and he's a super passionate guy, and he told me what he thought of the film at that point, and we continued working to get it like where we want it.
hmm I think that would be was that a good experience for you to work closely with the original writer of the book?
Yes, it was a great experience, and just to experience the passion that he had for the characters he created, and so yeah, that was amazing, and because he really is like passionate about the characters and the story and everything.
hmm
So that passion like was like it was able to make me passionate also almost about
Yeah.
what we were doing.
hmm You mentioned the intimacy of the characters, and there really are, primarily the movie's about three people. There's a few other people in it, but it's mostly three or two people. And so I would think casting would have to be very important because you'd have to have, really good actors in those, since there's only really three, roles in the movie. So, like, how hard
Yes.
was that to find, the people that you really wanted in those roles?
Um, so each character has to have like different traits and nuances, but kind of the thing that I was looking for is like playfulness and also invention. Uh, So Brittany, Alex, and Noah, uh, like, were very inquisitive and about their characters, and they like like just brought this. For instance, Noah, like this naivete to his character that it's very hard to get because it's a very difficult character. It has to be naive, but also smart, but also like drawn to this sense of discovery. So that's a difficult mixture of emotions, and 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 he got it just right. And for Britney also, Miranda, just this sense of unexpectedness that you don't know what she's gonna do next. Also playfulness and freshness. That was great. And the same with Alex. How he just embodied this crazy guy that his emotions are completely disturbed. It was a pleasure working with them all.
I thought Brittany really did a great job. Since her character changes her like emotions and maybe what's going through her mind so often, she really does a great job. And also just without always a dialogue, just looking at her, you can it makes you wonder what's going through the head of the character.
Yeah, yeah. Just by looking at even those silent moments, like you said, and just looking at her eyes and trying to see what's inside her.
hmm Now, with the story itself, and when you're making the movie, um, you said you were connected to the book. Is there anybody in the movie that reminded you of yourself, or anybody you knew throughout your life?
Yeah, probably all of them remind me a little bit of myself in different ways.
hmm
So it was also a process of discovery for myself through these characters. Um, so that just increased the sense, the feeling of intimacy.
hmm who did the artwork for the movie? Because that's a big part of the film. Is all the different paintings.
So Max Leon, he lives in Maine and in Portland, and so he did the paintings, and also did an amazing job on trying to understand Miranda and Gerald and their world, and Charlotte Royer, she did also the art direction, and the conservatory, the artist studio, and so yeah, it was like they complemented very well, Max and Charlotte.
hmm you mentioned they were from Maine. Where did you shoot the film?
In Portland, Maine.
Oh, okay, it's not far from me. I'm in Massachusetts.
Oh, in Boston.
I'm actually on the Cape. I'm not know if you know where the Cape is, but I do go to
Oh,
Boston often.
yes. I lived 2 years in Boston. It's great.
Oh, very nice.
I love it.
Yeah, I was just there not too long ago. This weekend
Yeah.
actually.
Where in the Cape you live?
I live in a small town called Sandwich.
Okay.
Most people.
I've been a couple in Chatham.
Okay, yeah, it's not far from me. It's a nice area.
It's a beautiful area.
Yeah. What was it? Now, this is your first feature, and I know you've done shorts before. Do you think doing shorts helped you, prepare to do a feature film?
It helped me in some ways, but what I was completely unprepared was for the editing process. It was the hardest part and where I learned the most. We had 4 editors. So yeah, they prepared me in some ways, but not for the editing. I wasn't ready.
Mm-hmm. Well, what is it about the editing that you find that you weren't ready for?
It's like a big universe of footage with like our first cut was 3 hours and 30 minutes,
Mm-hmm.
and we had extra footage. We shot a lot, so just kind of overwhelming at start to have all of this, and so kind of my first question was, what film am I going to do? And of course there's the script, and try to be as faithful as possible to it, but also it's the realities of what we shot, and and uh, and get just the right tone, the story, to the characters. It's like juggling many different things, and the last editor really got it, and right, and he was able to discover great close-ups, great slow motions, and just the story, right, and so it's like trying to going from the small to the very little.
Yeah.
And it's challenging. Yeah.
Now, this has come up in other interviews I've done with people in the editing process, and a lot of times they have the same kind of story where their first version of it is much longer. They know it needs to be shorter. Do you think that it's hard to cut some of your own material sometimes because you feel personal about it? In a way, you have to have someone on the outside come in and cut some things that maybe you wouldn't have cut before for the betterment of the movie.
Yeah. There were some parts that I was very attached to, and it was very difficult personally to get rid of them. But but it's just a process of disattachment and just taking hard decisions. But at the end, something better. It's evolving as we take these hard decisions. So yeah, it's difficult, but at the same time very rewarding.
So, what was why did you add Backgammon into the movie?
So Miranda in the first in the poker game, she loses the paintings, but more than losing the paintings, kind of she lost a sense of herself because she was very close to the paintings. So the backgammon game is her opportunity to gain back not only the paintings, but that piece of herself that was lost, and Lucian, it's a perfect witness for her to validate herself as a person, even more than an artist.
No, was there any reason for that game to be backgammon? Did you was there you could use chess, you could use any kind of game, checkers. Was there a reason
Yeah.
for backgammon itself?
I grew up with that game in my family. My granddad loved the game, and he played it a lot, and he taught us how to play it. And so it's a simple game, but there's also a lot of possibilities to it, and it also has strategy, but it's also a dice game, so anything can happen. And it's a fast game; you can play it in 5 minutes. So I thought it was perfect for the script and for Miranda.
What's the reception for the movie been like so far for you?
Very good. The festivals that we've been, we had full screenings and an enthusiastic audience, and now that it's coming out in digitally in iTunes and all the other platforms, we're just waiting to see what are the reactions of the people that see it.
When you got to see the movie, at the screenings, at the festivals, what's that experience like for you to watch your movie that you made, with an audience?
It's great. It's great. Also, it's a bit frightening, just to see all the work that I that we put to it, and see how it's received. Um, but it's also like an accomplishment to see. Like we edited for years, so just to see it in front of an audience, it's a big accomplishment, and where that the film made it to this point, and I'm very proud and happy of all the team that worked
Hmm.
in the film to make this a reality finally.
Yeah. Uh, when did you decide you wanted to be a filmmaker?
It was in Boston actually. I studied business administration, and after finishing, I went to Boston and for 2 years, and I had a deep vocational crisis in Boston, and I used to write, but nonfiction, and in Boston I started writing um, fiction, and also I started to go to the Harvard Film Archives to see films, and in Kendall Square saw a lot of good independent and foreign films.
Yeah.
Uh, yeah, so it was in this vocational crisis that I started to write fiction and got into film also.
Hmm. Hey, because I go up there a lot to see independent films and older films, and I don't know if you've ever been to Coolidge Theater or the Brattle Theater.
No, at that time we went like every weekend to the Kendall Square theaters, but
Hmm.
I didn't go to the other one. We went a lot to also to the Harvard Square. I think it's AMC.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, but
Yeah.
yeah, we went to the Kendall One Square. We went once or twice a week, and we lived very close to it. So
There really is no, it's great, it's coming out on video on demand, but really, to see a movie, I don't know how you feel about this, but to see it on the big screen with an audience, there is something special about that.
yeah, it's the best. It's amazing. The big screen is super special, and you like just sitting there emotionally. It's a different experience.
Hmm. What kind of films are you a fan of yourself?
I love Antonioni, Michelangelo. My favorite film is L'Avventura, uh, and I love L'Avventura, La Notte, uh, Truffaut, the 400 Blows, and I love a couple of things by films by Louis Malle, Elevator to the Gallows, and The Fire Within. Also Polanski. I think Polanski of the contemporary directors is one of my favorite ones.
Hmm.
The Tenant, it's an incredible film and has inspired me in many ways.
Hmm. Now, have your parents got to see your movies? I don't know if they knew, like, if when you were younger it was something that you'd want to do.
I always loved film, but it was hard getting into
Yeah.
because my background was very different from film and being an artist. It was more business oriented. Um, so it was I don't know if they imagined, but it's a pleasure now to share with them Backgammon and my short stories and the novels that I wrote, and it's great.
Yeah, that would have been a big risk, I would think, to go from business into something, like making movies and writing and something the art.
Yes, it's definitely a big risk, and that was part of the vocational crisis that 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 I like the trade-off between leaving the family business or becoming something what I in my soul felt more closely. So yeah, it was difficult, and those 2 years were hard.
Hmm. Now, there's a lot of drinking in Backgammon. I would like to know, do you have a drink of choice?
Scotch, I think it's yeah my drink of choice.
Uh huh.
Um, also wine, but I think Scotch definitely it's the one that I like.
Uh-huh, uh-huh. So,
Whiskey.
yeah, I'm a bourbon guy, but Scotch is good too. So,
I like bourbon too. Yeah.
yeah. So, where can people follow the movie and follow you online so they can, see what you're up to and where the movie is coming out?
Backgammonfilm.com
Hmm.
and also Backgammon Film Facebook. And between those two sites, you have like all the information about the film. Uh, the trailer is currently playing in iTunes. It just aired today in Hulu. Um, yeah, so I think those are good sources
Hmm. How important is that?
to see the trailer.
Yeah, how important is that for independent filmmaker to have iTunes and Hulu and the video on demand, the online streaming as a place people can see your films?
Well, it's amazing because some people never make it to the big screen, and or make it to festivals, but not to the small screen. And I think in the small screen is where you can share your work the most. So to have those platforms, I think it's very powerful for independent filmmakers and artists. And
Well, I want to thank you for coming on tonight. It's been nice to talk to you, and I really hope you have continued success. Not with Backgammon itself, but all your future endeavors.
thanks so much. It was a pleasure talking to you.
Thank you.
Nice to meet you. Thank
You as
you.
well. Yeah.
This is Brie Olson, and you're listening to Without Your Head.